is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All righty, he is there, ready to rock and roll. Ira Winderman. Wait a minute, there he is. There he is. How you feeling, Ira? You looking good?
I'm good. We're actually in Wells Fargo Center now. Just got done with Heat Shoot Around. I told everyone, you got to be quick. I got the Big O Show to do. We got the Acura Pembroke Pines report. That's what matters. I tried to set up the guys in a new 2022 Acura, but, some of the guys said, look, when we get back to town, I'll go down there. I'll go to the Pines. I'll see what I can do. So I am trying to push product both for the Big O Show and for our sponsors out there.
There you go. That's the idea, baby. That's what we got to do. We got to get everybody in an Acura. Very reliable. Take it from a guy that's had several already over the years in our family. So, yes, we love our Acuras. There's no doubt about that, my man. All right. I love the way the Heat has played. We saw when they had to turn it up and kind of say, all right, Trey, here you go. We're going to create hell for you. I didn't see that early on in this series, and it just seems like as of late now, the Heat's like, yeah, we got to turn it up on defense, because that's what I was saying when everybody was talking about playing Duncan and three-point shooting. I was like, no, man, it's about defense. This team is not dedicated to the defensive side of the court. Are we going to see more of that tonight, Ira? Because if we see that, I think they can end it tonight.
It's interesting because I know you had Anthony Chang on just before the shoot-around, and I asked Eric Spoelstra at the shoot-around here at the Wells Fargo Center, I can't recall a series, Big O, that had this much chess matching through the first 5 games.
That's
and it's been back and forth, how they're playing Joel Embiid, whether they're doubling James Harden or not, where they're coming from on the double teams. On the other side, the Sixers not doubling Jimmy, letting him get his, but making sure they don't give up the three-point shots. Doc Rivers said, hey, I might have to change that. This guy is killing us. So maybe tonight's the night of the Heat three-point shooters. So when you talk about the defense, I would put it in a little different perspective. I think this is a really intelligent Miami Heat team, and the way they are playing right now, that they can get a new game plan and learn on the fly. And Big O, I know you've talked about this for years on your shows, when you weren't happy when the Dolphins would come out after halftime and not adjust. And it would be the same BS, and the other team would win halftime.
Yes.
I think what you're seeing from this Heat team, and we saw it in last game, this Heat team is not only playing well, they're not only playing hard, but they're playing smart. Yeah. Game plans are hard. I know for people out there, they're throwing a ball through a hoop, it's worth 2 points, and you got a bunch of men running around in short pants. I understand it could be a beautifully basic game so all of our grandmothers can enjoy it. All of the abuelas out there can go, hey, I love that team. But when you really crystallize it and realize how much goes in, I think that's what the Heat have done best defensively, is they've taken the game plan, they've reformulated, and they've gone out there and they've activated. They have been really good. And I would not be surprised tonight at Game 6 here in Philadelphia if Eric Spoelstra comes with a new twist and Doc Rivers comes with a new twist. And it might not only be the hardest playing team, meanest, toughest, all that Heat BS or whatever, it also might be the smartest team that comes out ahead.
Well, one of the things that you talked about, I talked about with Anthony, that, they allowed Bam to play Embiid a little bit more, but to Bam's credit, he played smart.
Yes.
He tried not to overcommit and get too physical where he would get himself in trouble, where he would try to put a hand in his face, but he didn't want to put the hand on his face. You know what I'm saying? So I thought, and then the switching that they were able to do, whether it was PJ, whether it was Bam, certain guys that were able to switch from one opponent to another, from one defender to another, I thought that was also really, really smart, the way they were able to design that. The help defense, in other words, was just absolutely fantastic, the way they designed it in that game. That's why I'm saying that. And Jimmy said it at the end of that game. I even tweeted out, he said, we don't care about our shooting. We take care of our defense. Everything else falls into place. And to me, isn't that what this entire franchise has always been about?
Oh, absolutely. It's been about playing hard. It's been about playing smart. It's about doing things the right way. And your example is spot on. Think about the last time the Heat played here in Game 4. I know Dwayne Dedmon wasn't available because of the head cold and illness. Bam got into foul trouble, and all of a sudden you had PJ Tucker, God bless 6'5" PJ Tucker, trying to guard 7'19" Joel Embiid. And then you even had those Markieff Morris moments, which didn't exactly play out so well. So Bam has to stay on the floor. Dwayne Dedmon's had foul trouble in this series. He has to stay on the floor. And you stay on the floor, like you said, by playing smart. You could want to go out there. You've seen this, Big O, in all sports. Guys going out running 1,000 miles an hour, and then you go, but what are you actually accomplishing? There's more to it than that. You have to play smart. You have to play within the system. Bam will learn that. I don't know. Maybe you can come up. Maybe you could say Joker or some other players. I don't think there's a more difficult defensive cover than Joel Embiid for this reason. Joker, Nikola Jokic, is willing to make the pass. So a lot of times he's just standing at the elbow, making the pass, giving the ball to someone else. But Joel Embiid is strong going to the rim, is solid, as good as maybe any big man of that size with his outside shooting. So it presents that, do you go out on him? Do you give up the jump shot? How do you guard him? And that size of his is remarkable. Again, people, to put this in perspective, if you have a chance, watch the opening jump ball tonight on ESPN. The size difference between Joel Embiid and Bam Adebayo is sort of the size difference between Bam Adebayo and a normal, typical person. He's that much bigger. So the Heat are facing an uphill battle in terms of size. And, this is an undersized team anyway. Bam Adebayo is an undersized center. PJ Tucker is an undersized power forward. Jimmy Butler, let's be honest, he's really a shooting guard. He's playing as an undersized small forward. And Kyle Lowry, when he plays, or even Gabe Vincent, these days with the Ben Simmons type, is an undersized point guard. So they're giving up a lot. You got to do it with smarts. You got to do it with hustle.
Gabe Vincent starting?
Gabe Vincent has to start. He's like the automatic starter. And it's almost interesting.
He's good.
He's 5-0 in the playoffs. Why would you go any other direction? This is the thing. I was talking about this yesterday with Clay Ferraro on our Slomin's Home Security Inside the Paint show. And we had this, and I'll play this game with you also because I know you love a good game show.
Oh, yeah.
You would agree if Kyle Lowry could be 90% of Kyle Lowry, you would play him tonight, right?
Yes. I love the way he runs the offense.
Would you play him at 80%?
No.
Or 70 or 60. With Clay, I got down to about 60. So that's the thing. You can love the player. You can love what he does when he's whole. But in these NBA playoffs, you can't go 20% short or 30% short on any player. And that's the conundrum. Kyle Lowry.
And by the way, I might lean to 80, but since I'm watching your production, no. That's my problem. That overall,
since you're watching this,
your play is at 80, you're not good enough. In fact,
and also what the fill-in guy is doing. And here's the beauty of this roster that Ira Winderman and Orlando Alzugaray, going back when we were at the Miami Soccer Stadium and have spoken about ever since, was the Victor Oladipo angle. And how might he help you improve his worth? He's proving it now as a backup point guard. That Tyler Hero with the second unit no longer has to be forced to be a playmaker. He can get back to more of his natural scoring instincts because you have Victor Oladipo. So what the Heat have in Gabe Vincent is replacement starter, 5-0. Victor Oladipo's replacement backup point guard, former All-Star for God's sakes. They are positioned to endure the Kyle Lowry absence. I don't think this team could endure in the playoffs a Jimmy Butler absence. I know they did it in Game 5 against Atlanta, but Atlanta stinks. I don't think this team could afford a Bam Adebayo absence. God bless Dwayne Dedmon and what he does. But then your next center, since you're not playing Yurtsevin, is probably Markieff Morris or PJ Tucker. You were in trouble there. So remarkably, they can survive without Kyle Lowry. Now, I don't know if they can do it against the Bucks or Celtics or against the Suns or against the Warriors. But now, tonight, I agree with you, Big O. This is the right way to go.
Not that I want to be ultimately cruel with the kid, but I think you want to blitz this team and be as good as you can defensively. And I just don't see Duncan Robinson. Why even giving him any minutes? I'd rather have Caleb out there get all the minutes because he's the guy that can help me both ways. Whereas Duncan can only help me out in one way offensively. He's limited in other ways offensively too. I just would like to see more of a defensive player out there. I'm not so much worried about Caleb's three-point shooting or Duncan. I'd rather have the body out there that can facilitate and defend.
This is, folks, where I'm going to disagree with the Big O, and I will get a nasty text right after this from the Big O. I think this could be a Duncan Robinson game for this reason. Doc Rivers spoke after last game, we might have to change our approach on Jimmy. Okay. Obviously, that's code for we might have to bring a double team or a trap against him, which means after making the priority the first 5 games of this series not to allow the Heat's three-point shooters to get off, there might be a spot for a three-point shooter to really get on a roll. So if I'm Eric Spoelstra and the game starts and they're running Harden and Maxey or Tobias Harris and doubling Jimmy, I might say, you know what? I'm going to keep Jimmy in the game, but put Duncan out there also. because this might be the chance. Big O, you talk about this in baseball all the time. Sometimes when a guy's in a hitting slump, he can lay down a bunt because the third baseman is playing so far behind the bag.
Yeah.
This could open it up for Duncan Robinson, where if you're seeing folks the first couple of minutes when you're watching on ESPN, Jimmy getting trapped and getting doubled, it could become three-point shooters paradise. And you know what, Big O? As much as you say Duncan gives it up on the other end, if he's giving me 3 on one end and giving up 2 on the other end, I only went to state school in New York, but I still think that could be a winning proposition.
I get it, but that usually that's not the way it's been working out lately. That's the thing. It's just I think we have this perception of Duncan from months ago, or maybe from a year ago or 2 years ago, when it's not the perception and it's not the reality of what we've been getting the last few months from the kid. And that's where, if you're the coach, it's like potluck every time you call for the guy.
Right.
So if I'm going to deal with potluck, then I'd rather just go with the guy that I know, that at least Caleb, I know I'm going to be able to get the defense and the facilitating. And if he brings the offense too, holy crap, now I'm good. But at least he's not a burden or a deficiency for me in other areas.
And what I would tell you, this, Big O, and Eric Spoelstra's told us this so far through these first 10 games of the Heat's playoffs, is every playoff game is its own individual act. And every playoff game can have unique circumstances. So, look, I'm not saying if Duncan Robinson comes off the bench tonight and is 5 for 8 on three-pointers against a trapping Jimmy Butler defense, that you have to start him or play him against Milwaukee or Boston. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that every individual, just like an NFL playoff game, takes on a life of its own. So, if they are going to blitz Jimmy in football parlance, I'm going to throw a few more screen passes. And Duncan's going to be my guy in the flat who's going to get him and hopefully hit the threes. So I'm not saying blanket statement, you're wrong, Big O, and Duncan should be playing 20 minutes a game. I'm saying tonight, in this situation, this might be a Duncan Robinson moment or not. Because maybe Max Strus comes out and he's 5 of 6 on threes. And maybe Gabe Vincent is 3 and 4 on threes. And you don't need Duncan. That's possible also.
Don't forget, folks, that Craig Zinn's Acura Pembroke Pines is celebrating their 14th anniversary, baby, and 12 straight years of the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Right now, the ILX, $369 a month. They got some great lease features. Go check it out at 15601 Pines Boulevard and tell them that Big O sent you. All right, Kyle Lowry, how injured is he?
You know what? A hamstring is not a how injured. A hamstring is a soft tissue injury that you just never know. I believe when you get older, it becomes that much more difficult to come back from it. It took 2 weeks the first time, from April 22nd till they came back in Game 3 in Philly. The beauty of all of this is, not that there's a beauty with an injury, there's a chance the Heat won't play again till next Tuesday if either of the other Dallas, Phoenix, or Boston, Milwaukee series goes 7 games. So by sitting him out tonight, you were giving him 9 days off from the last time he played. You would hope that would be enough time, just so people know the scheduling, Big O. If the Heat win tonight, but if Dallas wins tonight, that means the Heat, no matter what, doesn't play till next Tuesday. If Boston, Milwaukee goes 7 games, they play on Friday, the Heat don't play till Tuesday. So the Heat could know by the end of tonight's action, the 2 games, they're off till Tuesday. That's a perfect world for Kyle Lowry. And here's the problem. If the Heat lose tonight, and they have to play on Sunday in a winner-take-all game, that's only a week away from Kyle Lowry. I don't know if that'll be enough. And if the Heat lose tonight, they won't be undefeated with Gabe Vincent as the starter. Maybe they feel more compelled to play Kyle. So the Heat's perfect scenario is close it out tonight, have someone else besides them playing on Sunday, come back next Tuesday. I think you'll be a lot closer to whole then.
Nobody's going to have any red hair today, right? Because, basically that's what happened yesterday. You paint your hair green, and that's just, a clown show when you turn over the ball at the end of the game.
That's who Marcus Smart is. And you know what? I will say this. Marcus Smart made a good driving play. And again, I think we do this too much in sports talk. We criticize instead of praise. Drew Holiday made a great play. Awesome. And Drew Holiday on the last steal at midcourt made a great play. So instead of lambasting Marcus Smart, who's had a pretty good offseason, playoff season rather, and he did turn the corner in that drive, Drew Holiday just made 2 fantastic plays. And I think you would agree when we talk about the pantheon of underrated athletes in all of sports, I think Drew Holiday's always been a guy who's been overlooked by the flashier kind of guys. He was fantastic with that 3-pointer and the 2 defensive plays at the end. He was star of the last minute of that game.
So he justified the 3 first-round picks for the trade, is what you're saying.
Oh, more than ever. And you know what? That's right. I love Milwaukee did that trade with the Pelicans, just like Pat Riley does this kind of stuff. Just like Big O on the Big O show and the Acura Pembroke Pines report will be lamenting the Heat's contract for Kyle Lowry, paying a guy till he's 38. But Pat Riley is screw it. I'm going to live in this moment. We are going to get it going now. And you know what? I have no trouble as a sports fan because I don't want to be part of, I'm here right now, the process. I don't want to be part of the Marlins. Hey, we got some fantastic kids playing in Jacksonville in AA and guys in single A. And 3 years from now, you're going to love our team. Screw that. I want to live in the moment. I'm living in the moment with the Heat. I'm living in the moment with the Panthers. They get a veteran like Hornquist. That's all I want. Give me veterans. Give me win now. The holiday trade was an absolute steal by the Milwaukee Bucks.
Sounds like what we did here. I said, that's it. You got to live in the moment. You got to dominate. Give me Sean Stanley. Give me Ira Winderman. Give me Ian Rappaport. Give me Omar Kelly. Give me Anthony Chick. Give me Manny Navarro. Give me David Dort. Give me George Richards. Give me Alan Poupart. Give me Marcel Louis-Jacques. Give me Cameron Wolf. Yeah, baby. See,
and the way you were feeling this week, give me antibiotics, and you seem to be fine now.
There you go. And give me some antibiotics and never stop and plow right damn through. Don't let anybody ever stop you. That's what it's all about. All right, what are you working on the Sun Sentinel so folks can check you out?
Wrote 2 stories today that I've already posted. Wrote a story of Victor Oladipo. Eric Spoelstra has a new phrase this season, and it's be a star in your role. And I think that's brilliant. What he's telling everyone is, instead of trying to be the man, we already have the man. His name is Jimmy Butler. We have the man 2.0. His name is Kyle Lowry and Bam Adebayo. Be a star in your role. And so what Victor Oladipo is saying, perfect. I will be the best version of Victor Oladipo that I can be on this roster. And that's what Spo's done with everyone. Be the best player in your role, Max Strus. Be the best player in your role, Gabe Vincent. It's just, again, you talk about motivation being part of the process. I think Eric Spoelstra has hit on something there. I wrote about that. I also wrote about Pat Riley finishing tied for 4th for NBA Executive of the Year. Zach Kleiman of the Grizzlies got it. But I love what Eric Spoelstra just told me here at Shoot Around at Wells Fargo Center. Screw an annual award. Pat Riley's on the Mount Rushmore of executives. Look what he's done over his career. This is not a 2022 thing. This is a career thing. Think about Big O, the Heat's offseason.
Only Jerry West. I'd only put Jerry West above him, maybe.
Right. Okay, and there's 4 on a Mount Rushmore, so I'll let you deal with that in a future segment. But Pat Riley, just this offseason, added Kyle Lowry when no one thought he could do it with their cap space. Added PJ Tucker when everyone said, why are you getting some 36-year-old guy? Brought this guy in from Charlotte who was cut from the freaking Hornets by the name of Caleb Martin and got him to contribute on this team. Got Victor Oladipo back on an NBA minimum contract as he did with Dwayne Dedmon and had the foresight to change Gabe Vincent and Max Strus's 2-way deals to long-term minimum salary contracts on standard deals. Eric Spoelstra Pat Riley had a hell of an offseason. They don't want to give him an award, that's fine, because you know what? The Heat are in the Eastern Conference semifinals, 1 win from going from the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, we can go West, Auerbach, Pops, and Riley. We good?
I mean, R.C. Buford is the one who did all the work in San Antonio, so I know Pop also pulls the strings. But the bottom line is Eric Spoelstra also said, I wish there was a combined award in the Hall of Fame for coach/executive because Pat would be there also. So I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, you can read that. That's at sunsentinel.com right now.
Yeah. Phil Jackson will never be on that list, but yes.
But Jerry Krause should. He should. Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, come on.
He did. He did. No, he did. He did. No, you're right. No, and even Hodges, Kerr, and
you know what? Again,
he always found that compliment.
Pat Riley did it with the slick back hair, swab and debonair when he sits on the side. Jerry Krause had a different comportment about him, but he did fantastic work. Absolutely.
No, he did. Yeah.
As opposed to Danny Ainge, who constantly got the names, and except for 1 year, went nowhere.
Yeah. Well, again, it was because of Kevin McHale. That's it, dude.
His friend with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
That's it. His gift of Garnett got him that title. Outside of that, he would have never accomplished anything else with all that hype and all that.
A bag of magic beans for Kevin Garnett or $24 to buy Manhattan. Yep, I agree.
Crazy stuff. Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat and catch him 3 times a week here doing his thing. He'll be back tomorrow with the Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat report. Ira, thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
We will talk. Thank you, Big O.
You got it. There you go, Ira Winderman. And don't forget, if you're looking for a vehicle at 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines. Tell them that the Big O sent you. They will take care of you at Craig Zinn's, Acura of Pembroke Pines. Marcel Louis.
This is the Big O